Let us then start. Sarvebhyo namaha harihi om. Last month we had done a session on Shodasha Sanskāra, the 16 purificatory rituals that are most well known in Sanatana Dharma. They are not actually limited to 16 different scriptures or different smritis or dharma shastras of good old days have given different numbers because Sanatana Dharma has always been characterized by a number of options. Some will do many more than others. Some will do just a few. And all of them are blessed in different ways, to different extent, by the divine forces. Those of us who have shraddha, true faith in our dharma, in our scriptures, do not think of any of these as some mumbo jumbo. On the contrary, we believe that every one of them, when done properly, can bestow upon us blessings that the scriptures talk about. And we know at the same time that we are not compelled to do everything. So we have a lot of freedom too in Sanatana Dharma, but we are told that if we take undue advantage of that freedom, we are the losers. We need not go through the temples at all, and it is we who then will become more and more worldly. The likelihood of getting very much swayed by the temptations on one hand and disturbances on the other of this world outside are the price that we will pay. Our mind gets more and more impure. So, in this session, we go for part 2, and there will be a part 3 which will, as per my original plan, go in great detail into antyesthi, the rituals following somebody's death. But as I will explain, we will have to see vivāha and antyesthi in another part, or we may go for a fourth part also. And who knows, we may go for one last fifth part. You know why? In this treatment of the topic, as you noticed last time also, I have been hardly quoting anything in Sanskrit. Not that all of you are hungry for Sanskrit. Some of you may be relieved that there is not much Sanskrit, but it's not the language Sanskrit as such, but it is necessary to mention some important mantras in their original form and then give a quick translation. Then the flavor of the treatment, of how we treated the topic, would certainly go to a higher level. At this point, let me open some PowerPoint slides, and I will begin with what we did last time, especially the first 2 or 3 slides. March 10th, we had done in our Hinduism episode 10, an introduction to the Sanskāras. And at that time, especially for some of you who may not have attended last time nor seen the YouTube video, we must clarify the word Sanskara means putting together, refining, making something perfect, preparing something, and so on. And here it's not an object outside that we are purifying, not a copper vessel being cleaned and made to shine, but it is the Jivatma, It's our antakharana. It is the inner soul itself that is made to reach a higher level. Sanskara thus are certain religious ceremonies with a lot of meaning. Majority of Hindus, alas, might be doing these rituals in a mechanical fashion, but the idea is sometime they will wake up and they will do everything in a more conscious and in a way with more shraddha. So there are external rituals as well as inner sentiments to be invoked while doing various sanskaras. The Gautama's Dharma Sutras, I am told, has as many as 40 sanskaras mentioned, but the so-called Grihya Sutras have 16, which have become very popular. Then there is a bit of a grammar, how Prakriti is given nature. If we are not careful, we may go to Vikriti, we may get degraded. But if we are conscientious spiritual seekers and we keep learning from learned people, gurus, acharyas, and so on, then we can go to the higher level of Sanskriti. Sanskara, Sanskriti, etc. go together. In the last session now, we had seen glimpses of what these first 16 mean. Garbhadhana, the parents even intending to have a child and invoke the grace of the higher so that they get a good child. That itself is a sanskara. Punsavana, again, much before the child is born. Simantonnayana also is before the child is born. It's from the fourth onwards, Jatakarma and Namakarana and so on, that the sanskaras are post birth. Annaprashana, Chudakarana, Nishkramana, Annaprashana, Chudakarana, and so on. Now we will go to what we have for this session, and we call this episode 11 in Understanding Hinduism, the 16 Sanskaras, part 2. Obviously, we begin or we take up 9 through 16, and to quickly give the list of 9 to 16, which were given in an earlier slide also. They are karna-vedha. Vedha means piercing. Vidyārambha, basic literacy. Or in one's own mother tongue, whatever are the first letters. Upanayana is a bit more serious. When the boy is 8 years or more, then he is taken to a guru. We will see the details in the present session. Keshānta for a boy, cutting mustache, beard, and so on. Ritu-shuddhi for a girl who comes of age. Samāvartana is from the gurukula, typically at the age of 15 or 16, the boy returns, so the girl also could return. Vivāha and antyesthi are the 15th and 16th Sanskāras. Therefore, we take up now what is karna-vedha. What is the meaning? Why do we do it at all? And when do we do it? It is said there was the practice of doing it within the first 4 weeks, but later on it somehow got postponed to some time within the first year. One, of course, is you make holes in both the ears so that ornaments can be put. But then there are other aspects to karna-vedha. It sort of makes the child more ready for being taken to various other houses, to some functions and so on. Socialization, culture immersion. Now, some of you may right away understand what this is. Some of you may wonder what role do holes or the ornaments have in the matter of socializing, in the matter of culture immersion. Last week there was a little bit controversial video clip that was doing the rounds. The well-known Carnatic music singer, classical Shastriya singer who has been awarded a lot, T.M. Krishna, apparently also went and sang some Urdu songs, Salamullah, Salatullah, or something. And I don't know much of Shastriya Sangeeta, but I saw that clip. He sings that in some gathering, which is a Islamic song set to Carnatic music. That's fine. That we are not going into those controversies, whether he should have done it or not, and what other statements he made here and there, which apparently raised a lot of dust. There are people who appreciate him and the people who criticize him. We will not go into it, but what is called socialization and culture immersion is if you get to see that little video where he sings Salamullah, Salatullah, and then some more Urdu words according to some Carnatic raga, you find he even has a little cap, the round circular cap on his head. So, to an extent, he sort of immerses himself in the Islamic culture. Therefore, what we wear, what symbols or marks we put upon our forehead or anywhere, basma or tilaka, etc., have a certain component in cultural immersion. You belong more and more to a certain setting. Therefore, in that sense, karna-vedha is a step towards immersion in the culture of Sanatana Dharma. And then the third point here is what actually is done. Those who can afford it, apparently they use a clean gold thread and pierce the ears. Others use a silver needle. Vedha is to pierce. In Mundakopanishad, it is said, Lakshyam tadevaksharam somya vidhi. With the bow of Omkara, with the arrow of your own mind sharpened by various upasana, japa, tapa, and etc. Having Brahma as the target, release the arrow and pierce that target of Brahma and become one with Brahma. Sharavat tanmayo bhavet. In that context, the same root is used, vidhi. Otherwise, vidhi means please know. Vidhi is very common in Vedanta scriptures in the sense of please know, janihi. But otherwise, the second meaning is vidhi, to pierce. Pierce the target with the arrow of your prepared mind. In that sense, karna-vedha or karna-vedhana. And when you do that, if the baby is a girl, the left nostril also is pierced so that she can wear the ornament appropriate to the nose. So the child, even later on, is helped to remember the importance of ears. My ears, having these ornaments too, are meant for a higher purpose. I must study the Vedas. I must listen to my Acharya and I should be able to recite also. So first I should listen and then as the Acharya teaches, I recite it. Therefore, ears play a major role not only in listening but in what follows listening, that is, proper recitation. Ears are thus an important organ, or they are the best or important organs in Vedic study. Shravana is the first step, as we know, in our spiritual journey. Now we go to the second of the few sanskaras we shall see in this session, vidyārambha. It's also called aksharābhyasa, and a couple of other names too are used for that. And the child is made to write letters of her or his mother tongue, or I myself didn't know this till I prepared for this webinar. The child may be made to draw mathematical numbers 1, 2, 3, or shapes triangle, rectangle, octagon, and rhombus, or all those, hexagon, and so on. Or the child may be made to play a musical instrument. For some of us, no doubt, are unduly or excessively attached to language, and language. But knowledge is much more than mere language. Music is a language by its own right. Even in my college days, I was a little bit into language. If a teacher in my college days came and spoke in good English or Kannada or whatever, I would be quite impressed. Whereas many of my classmates did not care for either the lecturer or professor's language, nor did they have good language, but they only were bothered about the technicalities of scientific subjects. So, playing a musical instrument, my own eyebrows went up when I studied this afternoon and said, oh, I had not seen a case like this, example like this, but possibly that is done too. As the two pictures show, typically some sacred rice or I guess some other grains are spread on a plate, and the father, sometimes a guru, might help the child move his or her finger, or probably sometimes an instrument, and then write or Om. The child may be helped to write Om, but symbolically, the child is initiated to vidyārambha, to vidya, to learn. It is typically done on Vijayadashami day, and there used to be the practice, I believe, to do it in the 5th year of the child. And modern times, again, from my studies, I learned that it is done in the 3rd year or so. We have to do a statistical, you know, interview of various parents. When did you get your child do the aksharābhyasa? Did you get it done at all? Where did you take the child? I lived in Bangalore for certain years, and for a couple of years, I lived in the premises of the famous Sri Krishna temple of Chinmaya Mission, Deenabandhu Sri Krishna temple. There was quite a big rush on Vijayadashami day. Lot of people, Telugu and Kannada, Tamil and North Indians, and largest number used to be Malayalis around there, Indiranagar. They would bring their children and do this aksharābhyasa. If Swami Brahmananji was present, he would preside over it, and maybe symbolically for a couple of children, he would help them write the letters. Thus, it's a little ritual and a happy time. Ganesh and Saraswati are especially worshipped, and some guru is optionally invited. Take the child to the guru or invite the guru to the venue where you may do this aksharābhyasa. So the parents help the child rise to higher and higher levels of cultural immersion, of getting to know the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma. Now we go to the next 11th. This is the Sanskara, which is most talked about, especially spiritually oriented people. Again and again go over the significance of upanayana. Vivāha and antyesthi also are very important one, the last two of the 16. But once more I would say from spiritual point of view, because spirituality traditionally means Vedic studies. And unless a boy, or in a more liberal outlook, a girl also, has gone through upanayana, he or she has no right, adhikara we say, Vedadhyayane adhikaraha upanayanat paschat eva bhavati. Therefore, upanayana is a sanskara which essentially gives you and me the right to study Vedas. In Brahmin houses and maybe in the houses of the three Varnas, it is even said, until you get your Yajnopavita, until you have your Upanayana, you are a Shudra, it is said. And which means some liberties also. If you have not taken the sacred thread, liberty like you can eat even yesterday's food, day before yesterday's food. But once you have taken the sacred thread, number one, you cannot take yesterday's food. Number two, you won't get even your breakfast unless you do take bath and sit and do Gayatri Mantra, Sandhya Vandana, etc. in Orthodox houses. Like that, everything in life is, it gives us some privileges, but there are some constraints and some restrictions. Why is this Sanskara number 11 called Upanayana? And why is it given so much of importance? As the title itself says of this slide, it is becoming twice born. In Sanskrit, the word dvija means twice born. Dvija can mean a bird also. Dvijaganaha can mean in some context in our holy books, birds. A big group of birds can also be Dvijagana, or a big group of Brahmins chanting Veda mantras or whatever is also called Dvijagana, a group of Dvijas, because in the case of birds, the bird is first born, comes out of the mother as an egg. That is its first birth. And after some more time, the egg hatches, and from the egg comes out the tiny, small baby bird. Therefore, it is Dvija. Why are not only Brahmanas, in the liberal view, I am going to touch upon that liberal view, people of three Varnas, and even more liberal view, people of all the four Varnas. And liberal view, not only men, women also. All upon going through Upanayana, they become Dvija, because the first birth is from the mother's womb, and second birth, born into spiritual studies, they are initiated into Vedic knowledge, that is Dvija. So it's something very important. Upa means near. Nayana, ni nayati. Ni is the dhatu, nayati leads, carries, takes. You hold somebody's hand and take him a few steps. That is nayana. Upanayana, therefore, is when parents say to their daughter or son, my dear daughter, it is time now. You go to gurukula and study. My dear son, stop or reduce your playing, start studying. He is taken to gurukula, leading, holding his hand as though. Upa is also it has the meaning second. For example, Mukhyamantri is the chief minister. Upa Mukhyamantri is the second uh, in office, second in terms of his level. So Upa, so deputy like. And second, Nayana can mean eye. After all, etymologically, it is the eyes which lead us. We see something with our eyes and then we go towards it if we want that object. Therefore, Nayana leading and Nayana meaning eye are not really divergent in their meanings. So, Panayana is the second eye, which means you have gross eyes so far, but now when you study Vedas and many other scriptures, as well as so much other literature, so much other, not just books and books, so many other things from the teachers, you actually have a second eye. Your second eye opens. What you are unable to see so far becomes possible to see. It's also called Brahmopadesha because Brahma has many meanings. Brahma can mean Vedas. So Vedic mantras are introduced at that time. Brahma can mean Omkara. Brahma can mean the highest truth. So Brahmopadesha. Many invitations to the upanayana have as the title. On such and such day, we have planned to do Brahmopadesha of our son, grandson, whatever. All of you, please come. The invitation uses the word Brahmopadesha. And in the sacred thread, there is a knot. 3 threads and a knot. And that knot is called Brahma Granthi. The 3 threads represent Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Samaveda. And when we say the three include the 4th Atharva. So the 3 threads represent the Vedas, and the knot represents the Supreme Brahman. So the boy or the girl, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, that boy or that girl is introduced on or to a pretty long journey it is likely to be, but journey towards the supreme truth. It's popularly called thread ceremony. Thread. So thread is in some circles a symbol of something to respect. In some circles it is made fun of. Pujya Swami Chinmayananji himself, whenever the word Brahmana came in Upanishads, would make a little mockery of Brahmanas or Brahmins, so-called Jati Brahmins. He would say, for example, Mundakopanishad has the famous mantra, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmanaha. The word Brahmanaha comes, Nirveda Maya Nastya Krita Kritena, and so on. Literally, when you translate, a Brahmin, after examining all the karma phalas possible in this life, goes into a state of vairagya. And Swamiji used to say, what does the word Brahmana mean here? Not the threaded variety, he would say. The threaded variety was a bit of a mocking expression, whatever. So, thread ceremony. But the more serious word for that sacred thread is upavita. Upavita dharana. That is the day when the boy or the girl, I agree, from time immemorial, mostly it has been for boys, but many holy books have apparently said that girls also were given Gayatri or this Upavita, etc. Look at the blue box at the bottom in this slide. Several texts such as Sushruta, Sutrasthana also include Shudras entering gurukulas and formal education process, stating that the upanayana Sanskara was open to everyone. There have been books. The upanayana ceremony extends to women in ancient Sanskrit texts. And a girl who in those days underwent the rite of passage, that is the Sanskara is called rite of passage, and then pursued Vedic studies was called Brahmavadini. So there are some references, but by and large, it was for the three Varnikas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. There again, the Brahmanas got into it much more with all plus and minus aspects of it. That's a different topic. The orthodoxy would say it is for the 3 higher Varnas. The liberal would say this is for all. In more recent spiritual organizations like Ramakrishna Mission, Chinmaya Mission, a student joining the program is not even asked what his caste, what his jati is. I had the privilege of teaching 2 courses of 2 years length in Bombay. And even today, in fact, I don't know the jati or caste of some of the students who studied under me, who lived in the same campus for full 2 or little more than 2 years. Or for that matter, some people who took Diksha. One Swami died recently, and I never asked him what caste he was from. But I somehow had believed that he was from a Brahmin caste from Udupi, where from I also come. But after his death, I came to know. No, no, he had a surname which sounded like a Brahmin surname, but he was not a Brahmin actually. I just laughed. Oh, really? Doesn't matter. In my mission, it is not an issue at all. Anyway, what is this Yajnopavita? Already I said about the significance of the three threads and the knot. So it is also a commitment. From the day upanayana is done, let's for simplicity use the word boy. I have said enough. Girls and people of all the varnas are welcome in principle. So for simplicity of language, we say the boy commits himself. He's supposed to commit himself. If parents are vigilant, if elders are more observant and guide him at right time, the boy will actually benefit a lot. One more dimension, tragic dimension of modern society is the parents are busy in their own ways. They don't do, the father himself doesn't do Gayatri Japa every day. And the son, how will son do if he sees the father not doing? So there is a lot of degradation, and therefore the so-called Jati Brahmanas are not much respected these days because their Brahmanatva to a great extent ends with being born in the so-called Brahmana Jati, but there is hardly anything that sets them apart. So the Upanayana is a powerful sanskar. We get committed. Once more, I would say, if there are a couple of elders in the family who sit with the boy, I have seen with my eyes in our small town when a boy got this Upanayana for almost a month or more, either an elder brother or the father himself would sit next to him during the morning and evening Sandhya Vandana. Or a young priest would come, one of the archakas. For 1 month, the archaka would give them, like giving driving practice and so on. For some days, you would drive the car with a L board with somebody by your side and really get a good grip on the controls of a vehicle. Likewise, how to do the different steps in Sandhya Vandana. If the boy is just left to him and a book is given to him, do as per this. Okay, I'm going to office now. Bye. Have a nice day. How will it work? So, Upanayana can be, for that matter, all the sanskaras, but especially Upanayana can be a powerful practice, powerful ritual leading to practices, leading to a certain lifestyle, which can lead anybody, any boy, any girl, to a greater involvement in spirituality. For Upanayana, I have a second slide now, for a couple of points are to be mentioned in more space that is required. Daily recitation of Gayatri Mantra begins with this sanskara. The very same day, this picture shows here the father puts the sacred thread upon the son, and there are other pictures too. If you go to the internet, put Upanayana images, you get so many. Typically, the father and the son are covered by a white cloth. Nobody else sees them. Covered fully by the white cloth, and the father whispers into the ears of the son, say, Om, Om, Bhurbhuvasvaha, Bhurbhuvasvaha, Tat Saviturvarenyam. The child says, Tat Saviturvarenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Diyo Yona Prachodaya, Diyo Yona Prachodaya, several times. And the son is thus initiated by the father into Gayatri Mantra. And as you know, the Gayatri is just one part of what we call Sandhya Vandana. Sandhya Vandana is done really 3 times a day, but nowadays those who are into some good achara also do only twice. Pratha Sandhya, Sayam Sandhya. Otherwise, Trikala Sandhya. In the middle of the day also one Sandhya has to be done. Sandhya means joining. Sandhi. Night and day join in morning time. Day ends and night begins in the evening time. Therefore, typically 1 hour before or 1 hour after the sunset, in that 2 hour window, the Sandhya Vandana has to be done. There are some rules, simple rules that may vary a little from region to region. So, Sandhya Vandana, I recently have not given talks on it. Years ago, I've given talks and I used to highlight Sandhya Vandana actually is a wonderful exercise for 4 layers of the personality. First of all, for 20-25 minutes, if you are doing 108 Gayatri, 108 Ashtakshari, Om Namo Narayana, 108 Panchakshari, Om Namah Shivaya, typically all those are added into the Sandhya Vandana package. And you do Agni-karya also. There is something called Agni-karya. Some samit, little sticks from a nearby people tree have to be brought. And 5 to 10 minutes, you go sit before literally fire. That is an additional, like appendix in a book. After Sandhya Vandana, there is one Agni-karya. That also you do. All that may take 35 minutes. 35 minutes, you have to sit straight, sit at a place, just a little bit, maybe stand up, namaste, and then again sit down. So body is disciplined. Otherwise, you know how restless you and I are. We can't sit for long, or sometimes we sit before a computer and we don't get up at all. So body going by a certain discipline visualized is rare in modern lifestyle. Secondly, prana. Pranayama is part of Sandhya Vandana. You take deep breath, chanting something, then hold it, chanting something else, and release it again, chanting another part of the mantra. So, mantra and inhaling, mantra and holding the breath, mantra and exhaling. So, second is prana. The third is manaha. When you do Gayatri Manjapa or you give Arghya to Surya or you do Ashtakshari, Panchakshari, the corresponding deities are thought of with love and devotion. That is manaha. And even if you are 8 or 10 year old, you can grasp a little bit of the meaning. You ask the father, your father or your mother, what does this mean? The mother or father says to you, look, this Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat means I meditate upon the source of all intelligence. It is that source that gives us good thoughts, good ideas, creativity, intelligence. So that is enough even for an 8 or 9 year old girl or boy. Intellectually, the child appreciates the significance. So body, prana, emotional manaha, and intellectual buddhi, all of them. Lastly, I mentioned Agni-karya already. Among the few mantras which are used to especially propitiate Agni Deva, as all of you know, of the 4 Vedas, Rigveda is considered the first in certain sense. And the first mantra, Agni Mile Purohitam. The first word of Vedas is Agni, because he is Havya Vahana. Havya means what you offer into the fire. He is the Vahana, he is the vehicle, he is the medium through which that offering goes to respective deities. Agni is the divine postman, and therefore there is a special Agni Karya, and boys do it, or the Vatu does it. So, in that, among the mantras, there is this mantra put in the box below, and 11 things are prayed for. O Havya Vahana, O fire god, give me these 11. When we aspire for certain things, here it is qualities. When we truly aspire, if you really aspire, they will come. We don't get many of things like discipline, like vak-shuddhi, or good thoughts, or respect for elders, or better focus in studies, because we don't seek it. So this mantra helps us to seek 11 factors. And quickly let us see. Shraddham, Medham, Yasha, Prajnam, 4. Vidyam, Buddhim, Shriyam, Balam, 8. Ayushyam, Tejaha, by Sandhya goes, Teja, Arogyam, Dehi me Havyavahana. Powerful mantra. If you can use this actually to bless any young person. May God bless you with Shraddha, with Medha, with Yashaha, with Prajna, with Vidya, with Bala, with Shrihi, with Bala, with Buddhi, the sixth one, with Ayushya, with Tejas, and with Arogya. That would be a powerful blessing. Or next time you are sending a greeting card, nowadays email. On the email, you are somewhere in some part of the world, and your grandson is in another part of the world. You send your blessings. Use this mantra and say, my dear grandson or my dear granddaughter, I bless you that God give you all this. So there are powerful sentiments, powerful thoughts, powerful aspirations upon which we can ride. That is called upasana. Now we go to 12th. In this session, we'll go up to 14. I'm leaving vivāha and antyesthi for another session or another 2 sessions. What is vidyārambha? In fact, this was not written in the previous slide, uh, but I added this because, as the second bullet says, since ritu-shuddhi is not for boys and keshānta is not for girls, as applicable to a boy and boy alone, there are only 15 in the old list. As applicable to a girl and girl alone, there are only 15. So by adding this one, vidyārambha, it becomes a set of 16. Because if you see there are 17 now, if it's a boy, subtract ritu-shuddhi. If it's a girl, subtract keshānta, cutting mustache and beard. So both the boy and the girl get 16, a set of 16. So the distinction is just this. Upanayana signifies the beginning of Vedic studies. This Sanskara is added to distinguish Vedic studies from study of numerous other subjects. That means one is a general and then another is specifically to Vedas. As the fourth bullet shows, what are general subjects? In gurukulas, of course, boys and girls were taught Shilpa Shastra. Shilpa Shastra is a big genre of various other subjects. Skills of a sculptor, of a potter, of a perfumer, of a painter, of a wheelwright, of a weaver. Also Dharma, Sanskriti, reading, writing, mathematics. You and I have heard, though we do not know what they are, 64 kalaha and 32 vidyaha or Chaturdasha vidya sthanani and so on. There is Gandharva Vidya, there are Vedangas. So, broadly speaking, those that are connected to Vedas are vidyārambha. And a number of things which are not connected to Vedas, dance, music, and so on, they are even Mahabharata, Ramayana, they are not Vedas. Bhagavad Gita strictly is not Veda, it's part of Mahabharata. It is at best a Smriti, not Shruti. Therefore, the studies can be divided to two. And for vidyārambha, one more sanskara is taken up. Keshānta, what is its significance? Shaving facial hair. Sorry, this picture I have put here has the hair on the head also shaven, maybe leaving behind a tuft, choti. But keshānta is when the boy is for boys, about 16-year-old, his mustache and beard are shaven, and meanwhile, Many of the boys would have completed, they would have stopped at that. The gurukula studies. Otherwise, studies never stop. All life, you and I are students. But the studying at gurukula. So basically, it's a sanskara where the boy is made to again recite some auspicious mantras, give gifts to the barber, give some gifts to the teacher who taught him so far. Here onwards, he will continue at home on his own or with other elderly senior boys around in the locality. And he has come of age. Both girls and boys reach adolescence. They come of age. This boy, in a sense, can marry, but doesn't have to. He commits himself again to the first station, first ashrama, brahmacharya ashrama, for some more time. Again, he commits himself to the vow of chastity, code of brahmacharya, and so on. The last one for this session is ritu-shuddhi for girls. This picture is of good old times. It's from 1870. 1870, so long ago. 1857, I think, was the mutiny in India when the East India Company called it a day, or they were made to call it a day. After that, the Queen of England took over. East India Company was asked to leave India or go to the background. So very soon, after a few years after that, 1870, you have this picture, a girl sitting in the middle who has come of age. She is bedecked with jewelry and with a half sari. After the first menstruation, the parents plan a certain. Nowadays, not all families do it, some don't. Ritu-kala Sanskara. Half sari party, I believe, is a popular name for it. After this event, the girl, while attending some ceremonies and so on, goes with a half sari. Some customs, hardly anybody follows these customs. Young girls also at schools have what is called a sari day. Even sixth standard girls suddenly wear sari and go one day. All fun these days. People uh, have taken a lot of liberty. They don't know also so many rules, and the rules may not be so important in these contexts. So it is a certain sanskara. It is prayer. It's inviting, invoking divine forces to bless the girl. Last but not the least for this session is samāvartana. I grew up in my small town and I always heard the word mispronounced. There is marriage in that family, and the next Friday is Samartne. They used to say Samartne. I thought, what is this Samartne? Anyway, let me not go into language. It's much later that I understood what in my town they used to hurriedly say Samartne. Is Samāvartane. Kannada na becomes ne. Samāvartane. This is Samāvartana. Sam, a, and vartana. Avartana, agamana is coming. Some avartana means after adequate studies in the gurukula, the boy comes back. He is given a ceremonial bath. See, in Western countries, if a boy is made a king, he is coronated. He is given a crown, and he is made to sit upon a throne. The throne and the crown, these are the symbols. In Eastern culture, in Indian culture, it is a ceremonial bath. So we say Abhisheka, Pattabhisheka. If somebody is made a prince, a ceremonial bath with chanting of Veda mantras and blessings invoked, etc. So anyone who completes the studies in Gurukula is given a snana. And that adjective there is, he becomes a snata. Snata itself is snataka. And some of you surely know, even today in India, postgraduate studies are called Snatakottara Adhyayana. Because Snataka is undergraduate course he completed, gets the degree, then graduate studies, as they say in West, or postgraduate PG studies. as they call it in India, or snatakottara. So snana is done. And the boy is now, in a sense, because he's almost 16 or so, and he has studied, he has come of age, he can marry, but typically he stays on for some more time. He may wait for some years till he actually enters the grihasthāshrama. The whole portion in Taittiriya Upanishad Shikshavalli, which many of you know well, is a celebrated Vedic portion where the boys who are leaving the gurukula are given certain advice. It starts with Veda Manuchya, first valli of Taittiriya Upanishad of Krishna Yajurveda. Veda Manuchyacharyonte vasina manushasti satyam vada dharmanchara swadhyayanma pramadaha आचार्याय प्रियं धनमाहृत्य प्रजातन्तुं मा व्यवच्छेत्सि सत्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं धर्मान्न प्रमदितव्यम etc. मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव etc. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes or 5 minutes to recite it, and that is a wonderful convocation address. The teachers are so humble. They say, whatever good you saw in us, please follow that in your life too. Whatever limitations or something not all that wonderful you saw in us, don't follow it. And the teachers give some very practical tips. When you deal with those who have done some wrong, don't be unduly harsh. Be considerate. Be broad-minded. And so on. Lot of tips on morality. Sometimes that portion, Veda Manu Chacharyonte Vasena Manushasti, is compared with the 10 commandments of the Semitic religions. In Judaism, in Christianity and Islam, the 10 commandments are held in high regard, right? This is comparable with that. Some commentators say, Vedam Anuchya, because Anuvachana is their teaching. Anuvachanam Krutva, Anuchya, Acharyaha, or there may be several of them, Acharyaha. Antevasi is the student who was living in the campus, residing, resident student. There also take plural. The teachers of the Gurukula instruct the resident students of the Gurukula in this manner, and so on. With this, we go for a pause. Meanwhile, just to give you a sense of how there is a lot of literature. A few months ago, I picked up this book and brought it home. And let me be very frank, I haven't read even 5 pages, but I plan to read maybe to pick up all the Sanskrit mantras. Not all, a few Sanskrit mantras for the rituals. I'll be using this. This has got 1150 pages, and it is by some great scholar who belongs to the Iyengar tradition. You know, we have so many traditions, Martha, Vaishnava, and so on. And this is Sri Vaishnava tradition, and his name itself is Veda Ratnam, Veda Vidya Visharadaha, Vidya Vachaspati, Pandita Rajaha, Mahamohopadhyayah, doctor. He got PhD also from some university. Swachandam Ananta Narasimhachar. And as I glanced at them, I liked them. I brought it home. Lots of Sanskrit mantras, what is chanted, and even some variations. Even among Iyengars, there are some Hebbar Iyengar and then some other Iyengar. Divisions and subdivisions there are. And accordingly, how marriage is conducted, how antyesthi is conducted, there are some differences. So, Dr. Ananta Narasimhachar gives some comments, makes comments on all. That just to give you an idea, there are thousands of works written by wise, mature people as well as unwise, very childish people. Sorry to say that. Other day I got a book which looked so good, the cover page, etc. On on Yajurveda, I think. I brought it. I got a complimentary copy. I grabbed it. Thank you. And I brought it home with great excitement. Within reading 10 pages, I said, oh my God, if anybody reads this book, they will be more misled than guided properly. So there are all these, but we must go for well selected literature to to better our knowledge. Let me pause here. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo Namah Paramarashibhyaha.